Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Kuliah kita pagi ini adalah berkaitan dengan serangga perosak kayu. Tetapi there is a very fundamental difference, perbezaan yang sangat asas bila kita bercakap tentang serangga yang kita akan cover pagi ini berbanding dengan anak-anak that we have covered much earlier. Okay, so what is the most fundamental difference? Ialah anak-anak dia feed on wood. Anak-anak dia makan kayu ataupun bahan-bahan daripada selulus ataupun the derivatives. Tetapi serangga yang kita akan cover pagi ini, dia tidak makan kayu, tapi dia merosakkan kayu. So what do we mean by that? Dia tak makan kayu tapi merosakkan kayu. So let us see in this lecture. Okay, now basically there are two major orders when we talk about wood destroying insects other than termites. Number one is Coleoptera, beetles and their allies, and then the other one is Hymenoptera. So that includes ants, bees, wasps, so on and so forth. So basically these are the two major groups, Coleoptera and Hymenoptera. Just to remind the class, so that we have certain guiding principles. When we refer to order, it always ends with the letter A. So Coleoptera, Hymenoptera, Lepidoptera. So whenever you come across such a name whereby the spelling ends with an A, so that indicates an order. Okay. And then just to recap, untuk ulang kaji, the word P-T-E-R-A, tera, tera. Okay, that's how you pronounce it, tera. That means wings. Okay, jadi Coleoptera ni, Hymenoptera, Lepidoptera refers to the different types of wings that they use to classify different insect orders. So those are just some basic information. Okay, now let's start with the biggest group, Coleoptera, beetles and their allies, kumbang dan keluarganya. So please take note, kumbang ni is the largest group ataupun the largest order. There are about 360,000 described species, spesies yang telah dikenal pasti, yang telah di designate adalah 360,000 species, making it the largest insect order. In fact, larger than any other animal groups, including plants. So kumbang, beetles, weevils and their allies, sekutunya adalah kumpulan serangga yang terbesar. And it consists of about 112 designated families. Ada 112 family. Okay. No other insects have that extensive family, numerous families, whether fossilized ataupun extant, maksudnya yang telah pupus ataupun yang masih wujud, and most of them are extant, maksudnya they are still around. Okay, now just to recap dan juga untuk ulang kaji. Now if you look at the families, the it always ends with the word AE. Yeah? Kalau order tadi, it ends with A, Coleoptera, Lepidoptera. Now families, they always end with the suffix AE. Yeah? It ends with AE. So you have Lictidae, Postricidae, Anobidae, Cerambicidae, Buprestidae, Cuculonidae, Coccinolidae, Cerambicidae, Scarabidae, Hydrophilidae, and so many more. Yeah? So whenever you come across the ending ataupun the suffix AE, that indicates a family, yeah, dalam taxonomic classification ataupun systematic. Now, the list that you read on this note, these are all beetles that lives in wood or wood structure. Okay, they don't feed on wood. Again, I have to stress, please bear that in mind. They do not consume wood, yeah? But they do live. They reside in wood or wooden structure for refuge. Dia hidup di dalam struktur yang dibina daripada kayu. Okay, so these are some of them. Just a representative, not exhaustive. Maksudnya kita tak senaraikan semua. And most of them, out of 112 families, imagine 112 families, there are many that actually live off wood, OFF wood. Maknanya mereka hidup dalam persekitaran ataupun di dalam kayu. Now let's look at the economic importance. Unlike termites, wood-boring beetles, kumbang yang mengorek kayu, they do not feed on wood. Again, we stress that can never be overemphasized. Dia tak makan kayu. Okay, because kenapa? Because beetles, they do not have the enzyme. Unlike termites, termites, they do have the cellulase, whereby they have the ability to digest cellulose, the toughest carbohydrate structure. Yeah? But beetles don't. Yeah? Jadi they do not have the ability to consume wood. Yeah? Okay, and they do not have this flora, gut flora, like bacteria, protozoa that assist them to digest wood, like in symbiotic organism, maknanya organism yang bergantung hidup di antara satu sama lain. They only use them as nest. Yeah? Digunakan sebagai tempat untuk bersarang, shelter, dan berlindung, dan egg deposition. They use it for tempat untuk meletakkan telur. Okay, do they not consume any part of the wood? They do, but it's not the wood that they consume, but it's the starch. This I will explain later. Yeah? So because of that, they have a lower economic importance than termites. Kepentingan ekonomi yang lebih rendah berbanding dengan anak-anak. Yeah? But never underestimate the destruction and also the the potential of beetles to destroy wood, especially in the aspect of aesthetic value. When you have, for instance, perabot hiasan, ataupun perabot hiasan ataupun perabot-perabot lama, antik, So it destroys the aesthetic value, and thus the the monetary value, and also the heritage, nilai pewarisan, barang-barang antik, which can be quite economically devastating. Can be a threat to standing trees. Okay, apart from that, we must also consider that beetles are actually a threat to the logging industries, a threat to the lumber industries, industri kayu kayan. Dia boleh menjejaskan nilai pokok balak, sama ada yang ditebang ataupun yang digergaji. A threat to silviculture. Silviculture-nya adalah ladang hutan. So salah satu cara untuk meningkatkan hasil kayu keras ialah dengan membuka ladang-ladang hutan. It is called silviculture. So you grow particular type of hardwood, contohnya macam pokok sentang, ataupun even teak, kayu jati. This is especially so in the monsoon areas, like in Thailand and also in Pulau Jawa. They do cultivate teak ataupun kayu jati for the purpose of lumber industry, hardwood industry. So it is a threat to such an industry. A threat to the woodcraft industry. Di samping itu juga perabot, terutama apabila kayu-kayu tadi diproses, kayu-kayu yang bergergaji tadi diproses dan kemudian diolah dalam bentuk perabot. And then later on you will see this marks, tanda-tanda ianya ditebuk oleh kumbang. So of course it will bring down the value of the furniture and irritate homeowners. Of course pemilik rumah tentu akan terganggu apabila perabot-perabot mereka cacat akibat kesan-kesan tebukan daripada kumbang yang hanya dikesan setelah perabot tadi siap. Maksudnya kumbang tu sudah ada di dalam sawn, timber ataupun kayu yang bergergaji tadi sebelum diolah menjadi perabot, tetapi setelah ianya siap, kumbang tadi keluar, mencacatkan rupa bentuk dan juga design perabot tadi. Okay, now let's look at the specific family. We only have a few as examples. Although there are many more, but we take this opportunity to present some of them, a sampling of them. Number one is Bostrichidae. Now this is the largest insects. A common name is false powder post beetle. Kenapa powder post? Maksudnya apabila dia menebuk kayu dan sebagainya, maka habuk ataupun debu yang ditebuk keluar itu memberikan namanya, debu yang ditebuk keluar. So that's why it is being given this name, powder post beetle. Powder maksudnya habuk ataupun debu. It is extensive in the tropics, which is a threat to the logging industry because number one, it is particularly large. It can grow up to 8 inches. Just imagine 8 inches. 8 inches is 3/4 of a feet. of a foot, 3 suku kaki. So it can be so large, then it can be up to 3 centimeters wide. One example is the Goliath beetle ataupun apa ni, kumbang jalut, sangat lebar, besar, dan kita boleh bayangkan kemusnahan yang diakibatkan. It impairs standing trees. Standing trees maksudnya pokok yang masih berdiri ataupun yang pokok yang masih hidup. Feeding on the starch contents. This is what I referred to earlier. They do not feed on the wood, but they feed on what is contained in the wood, and that is starch. Kanji. Sebab pada kayu keras ni ada deposit ataupun simpanan kanji, dan kanji itulah yang memberi makan kepada serangga, termasuklah kumbang tadi. So they do not feed on cellulose, which is the hard wood ataupun bahagian yang keras pada kayu tadi, tapi dia makan karbohidrat ataupun kanji yang terdapat pada celah-celah apa ni, vascular structure of the wood, xylem, phloem, and cambium, which we have been exposed to in our secondary school. Okay, then they feed on the starchy material, reducing it to wood flour, dan apa ni, kemudian bila dia digest, dan dia akan apa ni, maksudnya dikumuhkan dalam bentuk debu, dalam bentuk debu bertepung. However, the hardwood is immune. Hardwood tu maksudnya kayu keras. Kayu keras itu adalah immune, maksudnya tidak disentuh, because it consists of cellulose through and through. Dibina daripada cellulose, the toughest carbohydrate on earth. Okay, can also bore through the lead coating of electric cables. You see how tough they are? They can actually bore through the lead coating ataupun lapisan pelambang pada kabel elektrik, causing power failure and phone line interruption. Why do they want to do that? Because of the clicking sound, because of the heat being emitted. So when electron, when electric current is being conveyed, so heat is building up, and that heat and the warmth that is transmitted from it actually attracted the beetles. And as you know, insects are they are poikilotherm, maksudnya dia bukan berdarah panas, and so they are attracted to the warmth, and so they bore the cables. It could be an internet cables, it could be fiber optics, it could be traditional wiring, and so on. And some species can grow up to 5 centimeters long. Like I said, even there are beetles that can grow up to 8 inches long. 8 inches long. 5 centimeters is only 2 inches. So 8 inches can be 4 times as long. Now let's look at the morphology. What is morphology? Morphology is rupa bentuk, ataupun the appearance, the physical appearance. The head is hidden beneath the pronotum. Now let's I suggest that you go back to your basic notes on entomology 3104. The morphology of insects is divided into head, thorax, and abdomen. Which part is a pronotum? Which part is mesonotum? Which part is metanotum? Okay, so you have the dorsal part, and then you have the middle layer, and then you have the ventral part. So there are specific names to that. So pronotum is the dorsal part, and then you have the mesonotum, and then you have the metanotum. So go back and refer to your basic notes. So the head is, as you can see, the head is hidden beneath the thorax. So if you look from the upward position, you won't see the head because it's stuck beneath. Dia terperosok ke dalam, giving an impression of a hunchback. So dia seolah-olah memberikan gambaran seperti orang bongkok. The Hunchback of Notre Dame, the famous folklore from France. First segment of the abdomen is larger than the rest. Okay, the first segment abdomen yang pertama adalah yang terbesar berbanding segmen yang seterusnya, which tapers off, ataupun semakin menirus. Compared to Lictidae and Anobidae, these are the other two families. This particular family have a few large species, like have been said earlier. Yeah, they are represented by large species, large size species, and there are two other families, Lictidae and Anobidae. These are much smaller ones. The ability to bore through metal plating and sheathing, okay, because of the large size and because of the tough mandible, peralatan mulut yang keras, and because of the hard elytra, the covering wing, forewing, which is tough, so that provide the extra protection when it bores through hard material. Let's look at the characteristics of the larvae. It is C-shaped, like this in the picture. Well-developed head capsule. They have a head capsule. So nampak prominent, nampak menonjol begini. They have a prominent head capsule. Thoracic legs well-developed. Thoracic legs. These are false legs. It doesn't develop into legs later on, but they do have the thoracic legs while they are in their developing stage. And the thoracic area is swollen. As you can see here, swollen, dia membengkak, because that's where the digestive system are, the respiratory system are, and also the ganglions, kawasan saraf dan sebagainya. This is the most important part of the larvae. And we have, I'm showing a few examples here. A few species, just as a representative of this particular family. Xylobiops bacilla, large black pronotum that is everywhere rounded, so you can see here. The head is stuck beneath, and you don't see the head here because it is terperosok ke bawah. You are looking from up, from an upward position. This species bores in twigs and branches of hardwoods, especially persimmon and grape. So you find this particular species dalam pokok anggur dan pokok persimmon. Persimmon ni pisang kaki. Duduk dalam kayu keras. Macam anggur adalah mempunyai kayu keras. Adults construct tunnels where the eggs are laid, and the larvae create more tunnels paralleling the grain of the wood. Jadi they construct tunnels, dia akan bina apa ni tunnels ni ataupun tebukan-tebukan, ya, terowong di mana telurnya akan diletakkan, dan kemudian larvae ataupun anak kumbang yang menetas tu akan menebuk lebih banyak lagi terowong, ya, yang parallel to the grain of the wood, ya, yang selari, bukan perpendicular, bukan melawan, tapi selari dengan garis-garis kayu keras. This is another specimen, another species, Amphicerus. Pronotum seems almost spherical when viewed from above, nampak macam bulat, ya. Apabila dilihat dari atas, can become major pest for foresters. Ini bagi Jabatan Perhutanan. Dia adalah merupakan perosak yang serius, weakening trees by their feeding and disfiguring the lumber with their tunneling. So apabila kumbang ni berlindung di dalam kayu-kayu keras ni, dan memakan sumber-sumber kanji yang disediakan di celah-celah kayu keras tadi, maka dia akan yang pertama disfigure ataupun dia akan melemahkan struktur kayu dan juga menjejaskan struktur kayu. Okay, let's look at the next one, Bostrichidae. Yeah. Oh, sorry, it's the same family. Yeah. They adult bore through wood, creating a gallery. This is called a gallery. Yeah. Gallery. Sama macam anak-anak. Yeah. But gallery in termites are well kept, well maintained, and they have a very stable temperature, stable humidity. Yeah. It's called homeostasis. Yeah. Whatever small changes in temperature and in humidity will be corrected and adjusted. Yeah. So that life in the gallery is so much comfortable. Yeah. Any breach of or damage will be quickly patched up and repaired. Eggs deposited near the gallery and the wood pods leading to the tunnel. Yeah. So the eggs are deposited along the edge of the gallery. When larva hatches, it bores itself out of the wood. It will bore itself out. It will start to tunnel itself out of the wood structure, creating galleries of various sizes as both adults and larvae left their impression. In the lab, nanti tomorrow we will see some of these impressions, how different sizes of tunnels being created by both the larval and also the adult stage. Tunneling and pupation. Tunnel is filled with fine, tightly packed sawdust-like material. This is the this is the byproduct. Yeah? So whatever is being digested is being excreted and in the form of a dust, yeah? Dust form. Pupation occurs near the end of the tunnel near the surface. So when it's ready to emerge, yeah, the last stage of instar, yeah, it pupates at the very near the end of the tunnel, which is very close to the surface. So once the adult emerges, it doesn't have to go through a deep depth. It doesn't have to go through such a depth because it can simply come out to the bark or the outer surface of the wood. They prefer new wood only rarely infesting wood more than 5 years old. This is another problem, yeah, because they attack fresh standing trees. Yeah? They do not attack old wood. Yeah? They also attack bamboo, and you know bamboo is one of the forest product which has a very high, which sought a very high value. Yeah. And also in the crafts industry. The most common infestation are found in new homes or newly manufactured wood product. So that adds to the problem. Yeah? In most cases, the wood was already infested with eggs or larvae at the time of purchase because it was not stored or dried properly. So this is a problem of preservation. So once furniture is being processed or being designed, normally the wood is not dried properly, it's not varnished properly. So it is exposed to infestation by beetles, which continue to develop, in the galleries. And then in the end, pupate and emerge. Emerge, creating an impression, a boring impression at the surface of the furniture. Okay, destroying the design and also the appearance of the furniture. Most infestations are found in wood paneling, door. Okay, sekarang flooring guna panels. So it can be infested by beetles as well. Window frames, kerangka tingkap, hardwood floors and furniture, because of poor storage and drying practices prior to shipment. Because nowadays people want to cut corners, and they want to cut corners, and also to not to invest as they should. So they compromise on a lot of things, including the drying, the drying process. So the wood is not properly dried, and this add to the problem. Imported tropical hardwoods are sometimes heavily infested with lictins. Lictins is one of the family, Lictidae. External signs of damage are often not readily apparent until the adults emerge, which is already too late. So let's look at the management. Wood varnishes. When you treat the wood, waxing and sealing any holes on the surface of the hardwood, making sure no eggs were laid before the wood is treated, replacing the infested piece, example window seal, provided infestation is confined to that single piece of wood, and small pieces of infested material can be stored in the freezer, killing the larvae. But this is, of course, this is not feasible, economically feasible, and nobody wants to keep infested wood in the freezer just to kill the beetles. It's doesn't make sense economic wise. Chemical treatment is through fumigation, but it's costly, of course. Entire premise tented and fumigated by PCO. This is just like treating the termites in infested homes, like we have discussed earlier. Small items, furniture can be fumigated in a specially designed fumigation chamber. Again, this is not worth, especially when we talk in terms of the economy of scale. Of course, when we talk about individual premise, nobody wants to actually invest beyond what is worth the investment. It does not stop reinfestation. Again, although you treat them with fumigation and the like, it doesn't stop reinfestation. There is no guarantee. Okay. Okay, surface treatment, forming a toxic barrier, killing new, invading, and emerging adults from the infested piece. So what you need to do is you can cover, you can treat the piece of wood with a toxic barrier. So any insects that passes through, whether going out or coming in, will be killed as they are being touched by the chemical. This is kita panggil apa ni, contact poison. It penetrates deep into the wood, killing the larvae. Not only it is a contact poison, but actually it seeps through and dia meresap ke dalam and kills off the larvae. May take a long time to be effective depending on the life cycle. Okay. The best approach, what would be the best treatment? Inspection again. The best treatment is actually hygiene. It's actually inspection. It's actually going through the standard process. Going through the looks for sign of infestation, exit holes, fine powdery dust, okay, quality control, QC. QC is always the first line of defense in any industry. Ensure the material is well treated using varnish, lacquer, or shellac, and the wood is dry. Okay, so of course there need to be a waiting time. It should not be a hurried job. The wood need to be left to dry properly and adequately. In case of infestation, take remedial measures, sealing off exit holes, fumigation, etc. Okay. These are some of the images of lead cable borer beetle in the same group as, or under the same family as Bostricidae, the powder post beetle, large ones. You can see the impression of insects boring out of the wood surface. Greatly stimulated by heat. Okay, I think I have emphasized on this. Drawn by the heat built up in the lead sheathing of especially telephone lines, the heat built up attracts the insects to the warmth. Pada apa ni, rasa panas. The 2 mm holes bored will cause moisture to seep in, causing short circuit. And because of the holes bored, it can lead to other implications, and short circuitry is one. Also asphalt roof, a mixture of red fiber or fiberglass and bitumen. Now in the West, they are using this kind of roof, and this roof is also exposed or prone to boring by beetles, causing leakage and other issues. Okay, Lichtidae. Now there is a revision here, but we don't have to pay particular attention too much here. Lichtidae, which is a family, now has been assigned as a subfamily, Lichtinae. Okay, one of the things that taxonomists are fond of doing is revising and keep on revising. And nothing is actually permanent. They keep on revising. Otherwise, we consider Lichtidae as just a family. Don't bother about designating it as a subfamily. Less important compared to Bostricidae, of course, because it is smaller in size and only attack dry and seasoned woods with at least 3% starch content to feed its larvae. So seasoned wood maksudnya pokok kayu yang di preserve, ataupun yang di awet, with at least 3% starch. So if it is highly preserved, there's no starch left, so it won't be able to sustain any larvae, but at least there's 3% starch. That is enough to sustain and also support the life of larvae in the seasoned wood. In pest, sawn, timber, and presence only evidence in finished product, furniture, plywood, wood panels for flooring materials, etc. Attack by Anobidae can be similar to Lictidae. These are the two families apart from Bostricidae. Okay. As opposed to Bostricidae, the head, thorax, and abdomen of all are all in the same plane. So you are talking about Anobidae here. The first abdominal segment is of the same width with the rest of the segment. So if you are asked what's the difference between Bostricidae and Anobidae, Bostricidae, the first abdominal segment is wider, and then the rest of the abdominal segment tapers off. But in Anobidae, the abdominal segment is the same throughout, from the first one to the last one. So the width is the same, kelebarannya sama. As you can see in this picture. They do not taper off, dia tidak menirus. Okay, now this Lictidae oviposit eggs in large pores of the living tissues of trees. Okay, so just like Bostricidae, they lay their eggs by the edge of the gallery. The eggs are cylindrical in shape, rounded terminally with a string originating at the anterior end. So you can see the string. Yeah, if you look carefully, yeah, on a larger image, the eggs are actually equipped with an apparatus, a string. Yeah, ada tali, ada macam benang. Larva hatches and bore out of the wood in the process forming a pupal chamber near the face. Same thing. It will emerge at the final install, and it will pupate near the surface. Infestation is only realized when the adults emerge. The adults push out a heap of fine powdery dust as they bore out through the wood. Meat as soon as emerges, active at night and attracted to light source. So as soon as they emerge, they will start to reproduce. That's how crucial they are. Yeah. So the life cycle is short, so they need to hasten the process of reproduction and also the process of process of reproduction. Okay, we can see this impression later on tomorrow in the lab. We have some symptoms to show. Okay, Anobidae, there are examples here listed. Zestobium rhabillosum, Anobidium punctatum, Nicobium castaneum. There are so many more. Remember, there are 360,000 different species of beetles. Appearance similar to Bostricidae, but deeper on some features. Okay, these are details. We don't have to bother about this. Most dangerous beetle for worked and crafted wood. So even though Bostricidae is large and can be very destructive, but the most dangerous beetle, the status is actually belongs to Anobidae. Common only in the temperate region and in the tropics, limited to the highlands. So it is not widespread. You only find this on the highlands, in the tropics. Okay, now let's look at another order, Cerambicidae. Cerambicidae, this is another wood-boring insects, and they normally bore through fruit trees, like pokok cempedak, pokok nangka, pokok durian. They attack standing trees and less frequently on felled timber. So industrial economy-wise, this may not be as important compared to Bostricidae and Anobidae and Lictidae. but they do damage orchards, pokok buah-buahan. They deposit eggs under the bark of standing trees. Larva hatches and meandering through beneath the bark, creating an engraved impression. So instead of boring through the hardwood, they actually lay their eggs at the surface, under the bark, di bawah lapisan kulit kayu. And you can see the movement, the impression made by the larva as they meander through ataupun dia bergerak, dan membentuk satu corak, as they develop from instar to instar, and later on pupate before they emerge into an adult. When fully grown, larva penetrates inside the wood, occasionally reaching the hardwood. So when they are fully grown, the larva will penetrate inside the wood. They pupate near the surface and the adult bore itself out of the wood. So before they actually pupate, they will start to tunnel up to the hardwood. Dan ini merosakkan pokok, will damage the fruit tree, and it has to be pruned, perlu dipangkas. Attacked by Buprestidae, brilliantly colored large beetle is similar to Cerambicidae. So these are highly colored, metallic in appearance. Okay, the next one is Ambrosia beetle, and there are two families listed here: Scolitidae and Platypodidae. Symbiotic relationship with fungus. This is particular because they develop symbiotic relationship with fungus. Why do they do so? Because they actually feed on the fungus. They bore through ornamental trees, pokok hiasan, causing considerable damage to landscape settings, orchards, and nurseries. So this is particularly a problem to the landscape features. In the tropics, more frequently attacking dying trees and felled logs. Decaying logs in lumbering sites can be a source of reinfestation. Signs of infestation: females excavate galleries in stems or trunks and push out plant material, which sticks together and form narrow protrusions that look like toothpicks. So dia akan gali ke dalam kayu ni, kemudian dia akan push the byproduct, membentuk macam toothpick, macam colek gigi. So it protrudes out, dia macam apa ni, terkeluar, membentuk macam colek gigi. These protrusions are usually the first show of infestation. One plant can have many such protrusions. So if you see such a condition, that is an indication of infestation by Ambrosia beetle. And they are not wood feeding beetles. Again, sama semua apa ni, semua kumbang tidak makan kayu, but they are nourished by fungi. So others are being nourished by the starch deposit. In this case, they are being nourished by the fungi. That's why they develop symbiotic relationship with fungus. And the fungus is endomycete mycelium, that they tend by releasing the spores in the galleries. Dia cultivate this particular fungus by releasing the spores. It's just like the termites. When we look at the fungal gardening, fungus garden flourish from the starch derived from the xylem tissue. So the fungus itself is being nourished by the starch provided by the wood. The economic importance is attributed to the stains left on the wood as a result of the fungal propagation and secondary infection, Rapellia lauricola, depreciating the value of the finished product furniture, etc., and taking more than 120 tropical plant and tree trunks. As you can see here, it discolored the wood discoloration. So these are examples of the discoloration. You can see the larvae here, and then the discoloration, which reduce the value of the furniture, and you can see the protrusion, a toothpick-like structure when the byproducts being pushed out by the larvae. Okay, the next one is the carpenter bees. Order Hymenoptera. The species is Xylocopa. We're going to see some specimens in the lab. They are large bees. Ini adalah apa ni, sejenis apa, bees ataupun lebah. The males lack sting and females rarely stings. So they don't have the sting, although they look large and threatening, but they don't have stings. So in that case, they are not particularly dangerous. But they are a nuisance as they hover erratically. Dia akan terbang di atas kepala. They bore through wooden material, causing damage to homes. And this is how it looks like. So this is the structure that is being bored through by Xylocopa, carpenter bees, lebah tukang. So each chamber actually represent one particular egg, and then the next one will come in and deposit another egg, and that's why as time progresses, you can see the development of these tunnels, and it can extend up to several meters. And they feed their offspring, their larvae, with pollens. So again, they don't feed on anything from the wood, but they feed their larvae with pollens. This is another impression. This one is also another impression. Carpenter bees. So we will see the nature of this gallery in the lab. And finally, the carpenter ants, Hymenoptera, Camponotus, only build nests in dead and damp wood. They build galleries in wooden structure. They maintain a colony comprising of several castes. Okay, they are a little bit more complex. There are wingless individuals, there are wing queen, drone, larvae, different classes of workers and soldiers. Meaning to say that the castes are a little bit more complex compared to termites. But again, they use it as a shelter. They use wood as a shelter and can be very destructive, although they do not consume wood at all. So this is the result of the infestation by carpenter ants. So I guess that is the content for today's lecture. Tomorrow we will look at samples and also symptoms, as well as insects that causes issues in stored products and also stored grain products. So we will look at, and most of these are actually caused by beetles and beetles, the largest insects order. Do we have any question?
Doktor.
Ya.
Saya ada soalan yang pasal lebah tukang tu kan dia doktor cakap dia makan polen, tapi dia bila dia kan dia buat tunnel tu ada bekas-bekas tanah bekas-bekas kayu yang habuk kayu yang terhasil kan. So yang tu disebabkan dia bor ataupun dia memang itu daripada feces yang dimakan polen tu.
Tak, pollen tu dia bawa dari luar. Dia ambil dari
Oh, so
pokok sekeliling.
kiranya
Yang habuk,
yang bila dia
habuk tu apabila dia korek. Bila
dia korek tu je lah.
bila dia korek, benda kayu tu bertukar menjadi debu dan itu akan dikeluarkan. So bersihlah. Galeri itu bersih. So bila setiap seekor kumbang tu akan mengeluarkan sebiji telur, kemudian dia akan supply telur tu dengan pollen. Okey. Sampai menetas. Dan larvae itu akan is being nourished by the pollen sampai dia besar. Bila besar dia keluar. And then the next one datang pula bertelur. So after a while it can the tunnel tu can grow up to several meters, yeah, vertically. Okay, nanti besok
Doktor.
kita.
Thank you.
Okay, any other question? So kelas sekarang pukul 10 we call it a day, yeah. So insyaAllah besok lab pukul 2 and it's going to be face to face, yeah. Ada siapa-siapa yang ada isu ke untuk datang ke lab?
Tak ada.
Tak ada Okay, we see you tomorrow and please indicate your attendance Okay. I'm going to off the recording now unless you have any further question. So till tomorrow I'll see you, yeah, insyaAllah. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you, doktor.
Okay.
Salam doktor.
Salam, doktor. Terima kasih, doktor.
Baik, terima kasih. See you tomorrow.